Welcome to Unfolding Scriptures. My name is Kazakiel Ben Yisrael, and tonight's topic is Signs and Wonders. To my left is Elder
Shadaniah Ben Yisrael.
And to my right.
Shalom, I'm Elder Aharon Ben Israel.
And tonight, Elder Aharon is going to start off in the 24th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. Elder.
Our topic, signs and wonders. The disciples asked Yeshua a question, but we like to let Scripture speak for itself, or the Word speak for itself.
Absolutely.
Matthew 24, we're going to start at verse 3. Now as he, Yeshua, sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Stop. Turn to Genesis, the first chapter. Genesis 1, and we're going to read just the 14th verse, so that you won't think we're stretching things.
Mm-hmm.
You there, Kazaki?
Yep.
Okay. Then Elohim said, "Let there be light in the firmament of the heavens to divide day from night, and let them be for signs," there that word is again, "and seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for light in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth." And it was so. The word sign, the Hebrew word for signs is oath. Its number is 225 in the Strong's Concordance. And it says, in the sense of appearing, a signal, literally or figuratively, as a flag, a beacon, a monument, omen, prodigy, evidence, etc. A mark, miracle, an ensign, or a token. Again, remembering what we just read.
Can I say something, Elder, about this also? What's easily overlooked here, I believe, Elder, is in reading this, in reading 14, it's talking about the sun, talking about light, talking about brightness, and it talks about the two great lights in reading 14 and 15 and 16. But the thing that's very easily overlooked here is that when it comes to the sun and the moon, which is your greater light and then your lesser light,
correct.
What's important here is, and especially with connection with our topic here, is that you notice that the primary function of the sun and the moon is signs. Because here Yah mentions signs. Here he says signs and for seasons. And he mentions this before he mentions the fact that the sun is for light.
Yeah.
So it appears as though for light is a secondary function of the sun and the moon, as opposed to science, which is primary. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially in connection with our topic here.
That's right.
I just wanted to just point that out.
Oh, that's an observation that most people miss.
Absolutely.
But remember it said signs.
Right.
But let's continue. back in Matthew 24, verse 4. And Yeshua answered and said to them, take heed that no one deceive you, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, or Hamashiach, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. I want to stop there. Most people think that because the signs of the wars and the rumors of wars, that the end is coming or it's here. But what did Yeshua say?
Can I just interject something real quick, Elder? Some Bibles might say end of the world.
Right.
Like you just read in 3 before we went over to Genesis.
Yes.
It says end of the world. In my Bible here it says end of the world.
Right.
So we know that the proper word there is not world, for the world will never come to an end like that.
That's
but
right.
The proper word here is age. End of the age. So we're concentrating here on the end of the age, not end of the world.
That's right.
The world will never be destroyed, not like that.
No.
Okay.
7. It says, for nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And in various places there will be famines and earthquakes. But all these are merely the beginnings of birth pains. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and will kill you, and you will be hated by all nations on account of my name. There that word is again, my name. Another show. And at that time, many will fall away and will deliver up one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and will mislead many. And because lawlessness is increased, most people's love will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end, he shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom, stop. I want to stop right there. Listen to this very carefully. It says, and this gospel of the kingdom. There is no gospel of prosperity. Did you hear what I said? It says, and this gospel of the kingdom. The gospel of the kingdom is the good news.
Okay, no.
Shall be preached in the whole world for a witness to all nations, and then the end shall come. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him not go down to the house, from the housetop, to go down to get anything. And let him who is in the field not turn back to get his cloak. But woe to those who are with child and to those who nurse babies in those days. But pray that your flight may not be in the winter or a Sabbath. For then there will be a great tribulation, such as not occurred since the beginning of the world until, or nor shall ever. And unless those days have been shortened, no life would have been saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days shall be shortened. Then if anyone says to you, behold, he is the Christ, or there, here is the Christ, believe him not. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and will show great signs and wonders, so as to mislead, if possible, even the very elect. Again, signs and wonders. to deceive. Because these signs and lying wonders at this time are for what? To convince you. To convince you that this man is it. What did it say? False Christ, false prophets. These are the things that are prevalent today. Behold, I have told you in advance or beforehand. Yeshua told them this. He's also telling you this and me. These are the things we must watch out for. Then it says, if therefore they say to you, behold, he is in the wilderness, do not go. Or behold, he is in the inner room, do not believe them. For just as lightning comes from the east and flashes even to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Wherever the carcasses are, there the vultures will gather. Now, they've taken license, a great license with this, to tell you that, what? The Messiah can come any day. How many times have you heard that? But how many signs have you seen? What did he tell them? Do you remember what he told them? He said wars and rumors of wars, famines, earthquakes in diverse places. But he said these are just what? The beginning.
The beginning of the end.
That's right. But let's look backwards here. Turn to Exodus, the 4th chapter.
Exodus 4.
So we want you to see that this is all through this book. All through it.
Exodus 4.
Exodus 4. And let's start at verse 9. Well, really, let's start at the beginning. Because the topic says miraculous signs for Pharaoh. Then Moshe answered and said, suppose they will not believe me or listen to my voice. Suppose they say, Yahweh has not appeared to you. Now, this is Moshe speaking with Yah. And he has been given the commission to come to the children of Israel.
Okay.
So, Yah tells him, so Yahweh said to him, what is that in your hand? He said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. So he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moshe fled from it. Then Yahweh said to Moshe, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. And he reached out his hand and caught it. And it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that Yahweh Elohim of their fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob, has appeared to you. Furthermore, Yahweh said to him, now put your hand in your bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom. And when he looked, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous like snow. Stop. These are two signs that the Father gave Moshe to show the children of Israel that he was from the Father. Signs, again, what did it say? A signal or a beacon or a mark or something that does what? Gives clarity. again. And he said, put your hand in your bosom again. So he put his hand in his bosom again and drew it out of his bosom. And behold, it was restored like his other flesh. Then it will be, if they do not believe you, nor heed the message of the first sign, that they may believe the message of the latter sign. And it shall be, if they do not believe either of these two signs, or listen to your voice, that you shall take water from the river and pour it on the dry land. The water which you take from the river will become blood on the dry land. Signs. Because, see, our people are big on signs.
Oh, yeah.
Today, when you show them, Benny Hinn, touch your head, they falling out, he healed. That's a sign to them. But they're not understanding that that's a lying sign.
That's right.
That's a last sign.
Yeah, that's a sign to deceive, to gravitate you to a man and not to the word of the Father, which you're supposed to gravitate to. That's why we say, get your Bible, sit down, and read along with us.
Right.
Don't take our word for it.
Look at it.
Read it. Turn to Deuteronomy 4.
Deuteronomy 4th chapter.
We're going to read verse 34. Well, matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 32. For ask now concerning the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that Elohim created man on the earth, and asked for one end of the earth to the other, whether any great thing like this has happened, or anything like it has been heard. Did any people ever hear the voice of Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire? Stop. This is a sign. Nobody on the earth heard this but the children of Israel. This is what the Father is saying as we continue to read this. 33, it says, did any people ever hear the voice of Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard, and live? Or did Elohim ever try to go and take for himself a nation from the midst of another nation by trials, by signs, and by wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terror, according to all that Yahweh your El did for you in Mizraim before your eyes? To you it was shown, that you might know that Yahweh himself is Elohim. There is none other besides him. Out of heaven he let you hear his voice, that he might instruct you on the earth. He showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. Again, signs. The Father telling you who he is, showing you. But we don't understand that today. See, because the Father's not reaching down, tapping folks on the head, taking them away, they don't believe in him. And the people that try to bring the Father to him, we ain't got no signs and wonders to show him. All we got is his word.
That's it.
That's all we got.
Okay.
Turn to Joshua. the 3rd chapter. You see, signs and wonders are good, but you got to know what the signs and wonders are about.
Joshua 3.
Let's start at, let's start at the beginning, verse 1. Then Joshua rose early in the morning, and they set out from acacia groves and came to the Jordan, he and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they crossed over. This is when the children of Israel were getting ready to go into the land. So it was after 3 days that the officers went through the camp. And they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of Yahweh your El, and the priests, the Levites, bearing it, then you shall set out from your place and go after it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Do not come near it, that you may know the way by which you must go. For you have not passed this way before. And Joshua said to the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow Yahweh will do wonders among you. Wonders. Stop. We mentioned this before. But the word wonders, in Hebrew, the word is in the Strong's Concordance 6381, and it's pronounced palah. It says a prime root, a proverb, to separate, distinguish, literally or figuratively, by implication, to be great, difficult, wonderful, accomplish, arise, hard, hidden, things too high, marvelous, miracles, perform, separate, make singular, be great, wonderful, wonderfully, wondrous things. What did he just tell them? Let's read it again. He says, and Joshua said to the people, sanctify yourself, for tomorrow Yahweh will do wonders among you. Then Joshua spoke to the priests, saying, take up the ark of the covenant and cross over before the people. Now, the people were getting ready to go into the land. But before then, what happened? The Father walked them around what? In a circle. They were 11 miles away from where they had to go. But what did they do? They followed what? The pillar of cloud, the pillar of fire, and the cloud. So they never knew.
40 years.
Yeah, for 40 years in the wilderness. Can you imagine walking around in a circle for 40 years?
Clothes never wore out.
Never wore out. Your shoes never wore out. Nothing on you. That was amazing.
Absolutely.
That's a wonder in itself.
Absolutely.
But the thing about this whole scenario of reading this book and trying to live it the way that it's supposed to be, that we believe it and we saw nothing. We haven't seen anything.
That's right.
What have you seen?
Not like they seen.
Tell me what did you see this?
No, you didn't see that.
No.
Oh, no.
No. But you read about it and what? You believed it.
Okay.
You believe it.
Okay. They saw it.
Huh? Oh, hey, this is an awesome thing.
We're about to see some wonders, though, in our time.
Yeah.
Now you turn to turn back to Matthew.
Okay.
I didn't know if you.
That's all right.
Okay.
No, I'm through with that
You
part.
turn back to Matthew, the 24th chapter.
Okay.
Again. When the return of Yahshua is upon us, Matthew talks about it should be like
Read it.
the days of Noah.
29.
Yeah.
Read it. Start it. Go on. Read it.
Okay, we're going to read it. I just
Yeah.
wanted to expound for a minute.
Yeah.
And I just want to touch on these experiments they're doing with cloning now and the different experiments with gene splicing. And a lot of people don't understand that that was going on in the days of Noah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to read this first. Matthew, the 24th chapter, and the 36th verse. It says, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven." And this is to reply to the statement you made about they taking creative license, saying he could come at any time.
Yeah.
But that's not true.
True. No,
that's
it's
not true
not.
at all. Let me read this again. 36. "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only." Okay? "But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, unto the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, and one shall be taken, and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch, therefore, for ye know not the hour your Elohim doth come, or your master does come. But know this, that if the householder had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master have made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Okay?
Yeah.
So basically, Yahshua is breaking this down, telling you that in the days of Noah. Now, when we're talking about the days of Noah, the education that we got about the days of Noah is in the pseudepigrapha. And it's breaking down how the fallen angels came and taught man and woman the rejected knowledge of heaven. So there are signs right under our noses as we speak and are doing this show that we experience on a daily, but it's if you haven't been educated in that area about the days of Noah, it's somewhat hard to put a finger on it. Now, if you turn to Genesis, the let me find it. Genesis, I think it's the 6th chapter.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And there was a lot of things going on in the days of Noah.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff that was going on. And man had became exceedingly wicked
Very much so.
as he is today. And there are things that are happening in our society that the media, see, our media is controlled, and through this control, they show you what they want you to know. They give you the information that they want you to have. Therefore, they condition your mind to the point when you hear the truth, it's hard to distinguish, or it's hard to actually discern and rightly divide the truth, because you're being bombarded with all these signs of Satan and these lying wonders of Satan. And right now, as we speak, the days of Noah is upon us. So let's read Genesis the 6th, because I remember when I first read this a long time ago, I didn't understand it. And I'm sorry that I don't have my pseudepigrapher. But we're going to touch on what we have. Maybe we can touch on that at a later date. This is Genesis, the 6th chapter. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all whom they chose. Now, the sons of Elohim, some call the fallen angels. I've read in the Tanakh, divine beings.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah, some people take sons of men to be men, to be devout and
Sons of Elohim.
no. Some people take sons of Elohim here. They take them to be men, righteous men.
Right.
But they are not
Sons
righteous
of
men.
Seth.
Right.
They are divine beings.
Right.
The Torah does not tell you that they're righteous men.
That's
the Torah tells you that they are divine beings.
Right.
So all those who think it's talking about normal men like you and I, no.
Right. Okay. So when it's talking about the sons of Elohim, they were talking about a race of beings.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not going to go into how they look, because I've never seen one, and I can't. I know people, they get caught up, they get hung up into what they look like and things of that nature. No, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm just going to tell you what's written. We're going to read together what's written about the sons of Elohim. Some people may look at them as aliens, what we call aliens today, things of that nature. And I'm not going to go off on that either, not too deep, but I'm just going to deal with it from the standpoint of the sons of Elohim. Now, let me read the second verse again. That the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all whom they chose. And Elohim said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men. Now, coming into the daughters of men, meaning they procreated with women, with human women. And this misintegration between alien being or angel, that was a sign of rebellion in the face of the Father. And there were experiments done in terms of with animals, different animals, reptiles, birds, in which they created other beings, and coincidentally, a lot of the beings that you see, or a lot of the gods that were worshipped in antiquity, came from this misintegration. When you see different gods that was worshipped in antiquity with the heads of animals, the bodies of humans, and vice versa. So this is where it all began. So the main point that I'm trying to make is this clone thing that they're doing now, and they're pushing it on the daily. I mean, the news, we hear about it every once in a while. But this is rebellion in the face of the Father. And this was being done in the days of Noah, which is now being done today, when man, which has been motivated by Satan to actually try to capture life and the essence of life. But if you don't understand, a clone doesn't have the life expectancy of a true created, true created being.
Right.
Clones usually die within a certain length of time. It's a short lifespan of a clone. Satan has always tried to capture that essence of life. And that's one thing that Satan has never and has always hated, what will never have the ability to do, and that is to give life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to touch on something on what you were talking about here. In talking about what you just read right here, concerning how wicked men were. Y'all was so disgruntled with man, the Father right here. And again, this part of Scripture is often misunderstood. Looking at verse 3, Genesis 6, verse 3, he says, "And Yah said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, and yet his days shall be 120 years. Yah was so disturbed with man during that time that the Father gave man 120 years to turn around.
That's right.
So the Father basically right here was so upset with man that he gave man 120 years, a 120-year grace period. And if man turned around, the Father would not have destroyed the world by water. So this gives you pretty much an idea how upset Yah was during that time. And again, like you were talking about how these beings were doing things, and they began to talk. First of all, the first violation that they committed was they started messing with the women.
That's right.
That's the first violation. The second violation is in reference to the one that you had mentioned, Kazakiel, when you were talking about how they began to teach men all different types of things. Right. Astrology and how to do these strange projects and producing all different kinds of things. Taught women how to wear makeup. Taught men how to plant things, how to make metals, and all different kinds of things. So these were violations, all violations. For these were the secrets of heaven. That's right. And man was not to know these things. So these beings continued to violate Yah's rules. That's right. So he became not only upset with man, he was upset with them as well. That's right. So and touch on one other thing too. You had mentioned earlier about the news media. You talked about the news media and that it was controlled. And a lot of people don't realize that it is controlled, but it is controlled very much. That's right. Elder.
Yes,
It's controlled very much.
Of course it is.
And then one of the ways you know that it's controlled is it doesn't matter which news channel you look at. You can look at Channel 2 News, you can look at Channel 7 News, Channel 9 News, Channel 5 News. It doesn't matter what channel you look at. One thing about them that they all have in common, they always talk about the same issues. That's right. I mean, you think one reporter was giving each and every one of them information. That's right. But no, it's because it is controlled very much so. So, and they all talk about the same things. That's right. How can 4 or 5 different channels talk about the same thing? Because it's controlled, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I just wanted to bring that out.
Yeah. Turn to Matthew, the 16th chapter.
1:6, Elder.
Yeah, that's it, 1:6. That's profound, what you just said there.
Oh.
Because people they don't look at it like that. You know, they don't know, well, I missed it on this channel. They turn to the other channel.
Get the same
They
thing.
get the same, they get the same
Yeah,
feedback.
they do.
Verse 1. And the Pharisees and the Sadducees came up, and testing him, asked him to show them a sign from heaven. These boys ought to have
They want
enough.
to show them a sign.
Yeah.
Show them a sign.
But he answered and said to them, when it is evening, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, there will be a storm today, for the sky is red and threatening. Do you not know how to discern the appearance of the sky, but cannot discern the signs of time? An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and a sign will not be given it, except the sign of Jonah. Stop. This has been the most misunderstood thing that has been put in this scripture. They have not understood the sign of Jonah. Matter of fact, let us turn back so that we can read the sign of Jonah. Because I've heard all kinds of things about the sign of Jonah. Huh? And this is a very famous sign because the sign was to show them that he was who he said he was. He was trying to show them. Let's start at verse 16. Or, yeah. Then the men feared Yahweh greatly, and they offered a sacrifice to Yahweh and made a vow. And Yahweh appointed a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the stomach of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Stop. That is the sign of Jonah. To be in the belly of the great fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Let's continue to read this so that you can see something here. What did Yahshua say? An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, but no sign shall be given but the sign of Jonah. Huh? Then he said, and he left them and departed. Now when his disciples had come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yahshua said to them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread. Now listen at this. But Yahshua, being aware of it, and said to them, O you of little faith, why do you reason among yourselves because you have brought no bread? Did you not yet understand or remember the 5 loaves or the 5,000, and how many baskets you took up? Nor the 7 loaves and the 4,000, and how many large baskets you took up? How is it that you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread? But beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Huh? This is doctrine that he's talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Huh?
That's right.
And in the signs and in the wonders, we've got a whole new doctrine today.
Oh, yeah.
We call it Easter.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely one.
Huh?
That's definitely one.
Turn to John.
John.
Fourth chapter.
John number 4.
We're going to start at verse 46. So Yahshua came again to Cana of Galilee, where he had made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he heard that Yahshua had come out of Judea into Galilee, he went to him and implored him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then Yahshua said to him, unless you people see signs and wonders, you will by no means believe. Do you get it?
Unless.
Unless you see signs and wonders. And today all you seeing is signs and lying wonders.
That's right.
And you believe in them.
That's right.
Yahshua was profound about what he told. He said, remember what I told, that I told you this in advance.
That's right.
But nobody's remembering. Because nobody's reading.
You must have forgot.
How can you forget and you never read it? You never had it. But let us not digress here. Turn to Acts 2.
Acts 2.
Yeah, we're going to stay in their book for a minute.
Yeah.
And we're going to start at verse 14. Now, they always say this is when the Christian church began. I never figured out why they said this. It's beyond me. But let's read. But Peter, standing up with the 11, raised his voice and said to them, this is after the cloven tongues had fallen on the 11. Okay. But Peter, standing up with the 11, raised his voice and said to them, men of Judea and all who dwell in Jerusalem, let this be known to you, and heed my words. For these are not drunk, as you suppose, since it is only the third hour of the day. But this is what was spoken of by the prophet Joel. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Elohim, that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions. Your old men shall dream dreams. And on my men servants and on my maid servants I will pour out my spirit in those days, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapors of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the coming of the great and awesome day of Yahweh. And it shall come to pass that whosoever calls on the name of Yahweh shall be saved. Huh? Them signs and wonders again. All these things. But notice, they always get this last part here. And whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Notice what it says. You got to call on the name of Yahweh to be saved. So how you going to be saved in the name of Baal? Huh?
Can't be.
Now you can't be saved in the name of Baal because the name of Baal doesn't have any power. The name of Baal only has strength within those who believe in Baal. And then Baal will turn on you and destroy you anyway. That's the service of Baal.
But see, that's his job.
That's right.
That was his job to show that you had no knowledge in the first place. So you should bow down to him.
This society is bombarded by all these different false gods and all these different doctrines, and people have been being deceived and caught up in this stuff so deeply to whereas it seems as though it's almost impossible for a person that's been, especially been dealing with it for years, for them to come out of it. And I've talked to several people on a daily basis, and there's people that you can show this to, and they don't get it.
Well, you know, Elder, you brought up a very interesting point. What you just read, in verse, I believe it is verse 17, is a key here. It says, go back to 16. It says, but this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel.
Yep.
Okay, now that's written.
Yep.
Okay, now Luke wrote that. Now, you made something. You made your comment on. You said something about something along the lines of many people get this construed with this being the church.
Yeah.
Or this being the establishment of the church.
Yeah.
See, the only thing wrong with that is the writer here says in 16, he says, but this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel.
Yeah, right.
And then he goes, then in 17, the writer says, and it shall come to pass in the last days.
Yeah.
Shall come to pass in the last days.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, when people talk about the Father pouring out his Spirit, which it says right here, and it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yah, I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh.
Yeah.
Okay, now, a lot of people equate this pouring out the Spirit, his Spirit on all flesh, that was then.
Right.
Yeah.
But this one here is not talking about then.
Man, no.
It's talking about even yet future from where we are today.
Right.
So a lot of people misunderstand this as being Yah pouring out his Spirit on the Gentiles and bringing them in or adopting them and taking them into the family of Israel. And they think that this is reflective of that time, but it's not. It can't be.
No.
Because this is definitely concerning the last days, because it goes right into what we were talking about, the topic of the show. It goes into signs and wonders, and it goes right into the day of Yah. The day of Yah is not here yet.
No.
And the day of Yah has not come yet.
No.
So this is all linked all together. So the thing is, if you think that this is referring to then the pouring out the Spirit on all flesh, and you know, and people begin to prophesy and see visions and dream dreams. This is not then.
No.
This is yet to be.
Be right.
So, you know, and that's why I say what you said was very profound,
Yeah.
because a lot of people misconstrue this, and they think that this is being reflective of when Yah poured out his spirit on the Gentiles. No.
Yeah, no.
We know that he did,
Yep.
but this is not, this right here, what Yoel, the prophet Yoel is talking about here, it's not talking about then.
That's right. Of
It's
course
talking
not.
about the future.
Right.
From 2003. From 2003, the future from today. So, you know, it's, I mean, I think that they tie this part in here where it says, he shall pour out his spirit on all flesh, and they think that's what it's talking about.
Yep.
But no. I just wanted to bring that up and point out why you said that, Elder, because a lot of people don't understand why he said that. And that's why they say it, because they think back in that time when the writer, Luke, wrote the book of Acts, he was referring to, he was talking here about Yah pouring out his spirit, and we know that Yah did pour out his spirit on the Gentiles at this point in time, because it goes right into Peter and his vision, of course, you know, and so forth. And at that point in time, like I say, Shimon, Peter, didn't know what was going on because the Father had done it.
Right.
So that's why I brought that up, because a lot of people do get that confused, and that has nothing to do with then. Now right here in 16 and 17 and 18 and 19 and 20, that hasn't happened yet.
No,
So,
it hasn't.
Exactly.
Turn to
That's right.
Acts, the 4th chapter.
Okay.
And let's start at verse 23.
4:23.
Well, no, let's do Acts 4 and 12. It says, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved.
That's right.
Huh? What is he talking about? Huh? The name.
The name.
Absolutely.
Again.
Absolutely. And it's very, very important.